Hello, hello, hello. I hope that you're having an absolutely lovely day today. For those of you that are hopping on that don't know me, my name is Leah Drew, and it is a pleasure to be here with you today. I am excited to have my amazing soul sister and support coach of a program that is very near and dear to me, the Mind Body Initiative, joining me today. So I'm going to add her in here. So give me 1 second. We're going to invite. Welcome, everyone. Drop in where you're tuning in from today so that we know where in the world you are. Curious where everyone's coming from. Hello, Val.
Hello.
What's going on, girl?
Chilling.
Chilling with Val's lights in the background, or her signature.
Gotta love them. Gotta love them.
Yeah, so super excited for you to be here, and I'm just really excited as our worlds continue to collide in so many ways to have you here because you are such an important part of my life, and you are such an important part of the upcoming experience, the Mind Body Initiative, which is our signature 16-week program. And I'm so honored to have you as a support coach because I know how much of an impact you've made on my life and those that have come into your circle. I've been able to see and witness the impact that you've had on theirs. So I'm really excited. There's a couple of people in here today who are going to be in the program. So I'm just loving that they're here with us too. And, the reason that we are here today is ultimately to discuss the 4 pillars of the Mind Body Initiative. And for those that are not familiar with the Mind Body Initiative, this is my signature 16-week program, and the intention of this program is to support you and in transforming your physical health, your mental health, your emotional wellness, and your spiritual health. And when we say spiritual health, we're really talking about your energetics, your connection to spirit, your connection to the universe, to God, whatever it is that you want to call it and refer to it. And we're going to talk a little bit today about our own personal experiences in these 4 pillars, because I personally believe that just like the foundation of your home, these 4 pillars are what hold you strong. They connect you deep within yourself, and it is truly what allows you to move forwards in your healing journey, your growth journey. And so in these next 16 weeks, which starts next week, so for anybody that just really resonates with this conversation and you're like, this sounds really intriguing. I want to know more about the Mind Body Initiative. And if you're somebody that's sitting in a place where you're like, I'm ready to change, I'm ready to get unstuck, I'm ready to move my life experience forward so I can heal from my past experiences, my past trauma, so that you can heal from your emotional stress that might be creating roadblocks in your life. And if you're ready to learn how to move your physical body better, on top of being connected with a beautiful community, me and Valarie included, when you come into our world, you are in our world for good. So lucky you. And yeah, if this is resonating for you and you're like, I want that, reach out to one of us, have a conversation with us, ask us more about what this is, and we'll chat with you about where you're at, what your goals are, and we'll see if this is a good fit for you. We have an amazing community of people that are joining us. Some of them are my greatest friends that are like, Leah, I want to go deeper. And it's an honor to hold that space with Val to support them. And it would be an honor to have you in that. So with that being said, we are going to dive deeper into what those 4 pillars are today. And for me, I've been through my own personal experience as has Valarie. And we are moving the same trajectory, and our experiences have been slightly different. So I felt that it was just a little bit. So let's start with the first one, which is the first pillar that we do dive into in the Mind Body Initiative transformational program, which is mental, right? This is your mindset, your mental health, right? And so Val, I'm curious, what has been your personal journey with your mindset, and how have these shifts within your mindset helped you with diving deeper into the work. And yeah, and how has your mindset shifted and changed from beginning to end? You kind of have the ability to flow within this however you want. So I'm just curious for myself and for other people to learn more about, like, what's your journey with your mindset been like?
Yeah. Love that that's the first pillar, because my personal experience has been that the mental pillar is the foundation. That was the key to unlocking my entire journey, because I tried to heal and I tried to set goals and I tried to get on my fitness journey a million times, and it never worked out because my mindset wasn't correct. It wasn't me. It wasn't stable. It wasn't what I needed it to be. So where that began for me was I started to observe my thoughts, and I learned tools to reprogram them. And I also learned how to figure out where were they coming from? Why was I thinking these things? Where was that dialogue coming from? And being able to go really deep into the stories that were showing up as patterns in my life, things from my childhood, et cetera, just experiences. All of it snowballs into the dialogue in our head. And so once I kind of got the notification that, hey, this is what's running your life, and you have the ability to change that and reprogram limiting beliefs and all of those things, that is what set my entire self-transformation on a trajectory that it is now. So I love that it's the first pillar. And I'm really curious, why did you choose to make that the first pillar, and what has been your experience?
Yeah, well, first of all, I appreciate you sharing, and you know, it's true. The mindset is so important, and part of the reason why I brought this in as the first pillar that we dive into in the Mind Body Initiative is because, and this brings in a conversation I was just having with a client one-on-one prior to this call, is that if you do not believe that you can accomplish this goal, if you do not believe that you can be in this place, if all of this chatter in your mind, I call it your inner roommate, if you and your inner roommate are not understanding of one another like a functioning relationship, it's going to be really freaking hard to accomplish anything. It's going to be really hard to create the changes. It's going to be really, really challenging to get unstuck and to start making progress in your health, in your wellness, in creating the life experience you desire, right? Because at the end of the day, that's really why, in my opinion, we all dive into the work, is so that we can live a better experience, whether that be more happiness, more love, more financial success, right? More presence, right? And so in the Mind Body Initiative, we dive really deep into the mental component first, because if you are not aware of the areas where your mental component is shifting, and if you're not aware of the areas where your mindset is showing up and sabotaging you along the journey, and if you're not aware of these areas that ultimately you're showing up to try to protect yourself, which is ultimately holding you back. If you're not aware of these things, it's going to be really hard for you to dive deeper into the emotional components. It's going to be really hard for you to dive deeper into the physical health and optimize your physical body, your injuries, heal from your injuries, reduce your inflammation. If you don't tap into this mental component and start to gain awareness around your mindset, it literally becomes impossible. And that was my personal experience with this. Is for so long I tried so freaking hard to do all of the things for myself, right? I tried with the physical health. That was one of the biggest places where I started, because I was like, my physical health is suffering. I have severe pain. I threw myself into bodybuilding. I threw myself into all these things to try to fix my physical body. And I realized that my mindset and my mental capacity was not supporting the space so that I could dive deeper into the physical health. And
Well,
so I
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that, you know, what you're touching on when you're talking about throwing yourself into bodybuilding and things like that, I think there's another element there of another thing that I had to, you know, address within myself as well was, you know, the things that we want, we have to make sure that we truly want them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that there's a lot of times that we feel pressure from society or family or friends to have goals of certain things, or we should look a certain way, or we should achieve a certain thing. And sometimes the whole reason why we can't accomplish that is because we truly don't actually want it, and it's not making us happy, and it's not fulfilling us. And so that's another element of the entire mental thing, is when you go deep into your thoughts and you go deep into your goals and the things that you want for yourself, that really does show up sometimes of like, well, why do you want that?
Yeah. Yes. And that's the other thing that I was going to highlight there too, is like, you may want it, you may not actually truly want it deep in your core, your heart, right? It may not actually align with your values. And if you look deeper into the why, it's like, well, why do you want it? You know, like for me, I know that I dove into bodybuilding because I was like, oh, if I look like that, I'm going to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
If I look like that, people are going to like me. If I look like that, I'll feel all this love and attention that I never received as a child. And so I think you bring up that really great point, is, do you actually want it? And why do you actually want it? And that, again, is why I'm so excited to support this incredible group of humans through starting their journey with diving deeper into the mental component and the mindset. And that is what leads us into the emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when I started creating this program years back, I really struggled. I was like, one, how do I put all of this information into one course in 16 weeks? It was the hardest thing to do.
Much, I know. There's so much. I don't know how you did it. Applause for that, because it's a lot.
And, you know, I was like, on top of that, I was like, okay, once I figured out all of what I wanted to have in this experience, the challenge was, how do I progress from one stage into the next, from 1 week into the next? And so as I sat down, I played with so many different ways of doing this, and the emotional kept coming up as second. And the reason for that is because when I was going through my own personal journey with pain, for those of you that aren't familiar with me and my journey, when I was 16, I had a pancreatic tumor the size of an orange. I had major abdominal surgery. And over the next couple of years, that led to a lot of challenges, especially physical pain. I ended up having severe pain in my lumbar spine and my lower back, and I couldn't figure out how to get this pain to go away. And it wasn't until I started diving really deep into the emotional components, into the emotional stress I was experiencing, and into really grounding myself into safety in my body, that this pain really started to lighten up. And I really believe that aspect of creating safety within yourself is one of the keys to supporting yourself into emotional regulation. And for those of you that aren't super familiar, your emotions play a huge role in your pain experience. And so that was when I was really specifically only doing massage at one point in my life. When I was really specifically doing massage at one point in my life, I kept finding that people kept coming into my office. And as I was working on these areas of pain, all of this emotional stuff kept coming up. And I was like, well, I'm not a therapist. Like, why? I'm like, and nobody ever told me and educated me on this concept of holding space for someone. And as I started getting older, I started to realize, oh, okay, like it's really important to hold space as you're working on someone's physical body, because your emotions are simply energy in motion. And when these emotions are traumatic, are stressful, are emotions that come with lower vibrations, it influences your physical body and it influences your genetic expression. And if you are unfamiliar with the concept of epigenetics, It is the study of your environment and how it plays a role on your genetic expression. And epigenetics has a larger impact on what you actually experience than actual genes do. And that's something that blows people away, is like, well, it's my genetics. Well, it's actually not. Like, yes, you're given these genetics, and it is your choice as to if you flip the switch on or off on that particular gene. And so we dive really deep into the emotional component second, because by really gaining understanding and getting clear on what are these emotions I'm holding in my body, where do they come from, and how can I support myself through managing and navigating these emotions so they're not trapped here, that's when you're going to start to experience a significant shift in your physical body. And when you experience a shift in your physical body, it changes the energetics of your entire being, which allow you to shift the way you show up, how you show up, what you can do in showing up, and it helps you with getting into alignment more so with the things that you really truly desire in your life. Because if you're carrying those emotions and if you're carrying these energies that are not supporting you and where you want to go, and again, you already have to have the mindset and the mental awareness to understand and be able to see and observe and be aware of when these emotions are coming up, how they're influencing you, and being able to connect dots. Then if you can't work through these emotions, it's going to be really challenging to get unstuck and to keep moving forwards and really call in and manifest, right? We love that word, the things that you desire in your life, whether that be a pain-free life, a pain-free body, whether that be the job that you truly want, whether that be moving to another state, whether that be finding the community of people that you truly deserve in your life, the partner you deserve in your life. If you're holding these emotions and you aren't transmuting them and processing them and moving them through your body, they're going to be trapped, get trapped, and it's going to prevent you from moving forwards. So that's why, long-winded way to say why the emotions come up second in the mind-body initiative, and why we dive really deep into inner child work, into understanding how to emotionally regulate yourself and what tools can support you in moving this energy and transmuting this energy through your body so it is no longer trapped and so it does no longer continue to affect you. So with that being said, I'm curious, like, how has emotions played a role for you in your own personal experience in your life? Even especially in the last year, because I've seen you make so many changes in your environment and in your life in the past year, and I've watched you and held that space for you as you've worked through so many emotions. So I'm curious, like, how does this pillar resonate for you?
Well, yes, you've held so much space. So yes, you've witnessed a lot of emotional change in me. I agree with the fact that this is the second pillar, that we're going right out of mental into emotional. And this is a great example of, like, I completely agree with everything you just said, and I have an adjacent path. And so it's, for me, when I was going through my journey, it's when I was starting to go through all of these, like, unraveling the mental cage I had gotten myself in with all of these different limiting beliefs and dialogues and things like that I referenced earlier. As I was undoing those and as I was going deep to heal those and reprogram those, what happens when you dive deep? Emotions come up. And if you don't know how to regulate them or deal with them, or even if, for me, I didn't even know how to feel them. I had turned it off because of something I had experienced a long, long, long time ago. And I didn't even know that I had turned them off. And so it was like, the fact that, they're pretty intertwined to me, the mental and the emotional, because, like I said, as you unravel the mental, the emotional is going to come up. And one of the biggest things for me with the emotions was learning how to turn off the judgment of what I was feeling, learning to turn off any attachment to feelings. Like usually the judgment happens with the more quote unquote negative feelings, and the attachment would happen to the good ones. And so it was like, I would be scared to lose, you know, the good emotion. If I'm feeling happy right now, I wouldn't even know how to feel happy, because I would just be worried, when am I not going to feel this anymore? And then on the flip side, with things that didn't feel good, it felt like this would never end. And so, and I was feeling like, oh, I shouldn't feel this way. I need to just get over it. And I think that that's a huge thing that comes up whenever we're looking at our patterns and our past traumas and things like that. And so learning how to, for me, it was turning my emotions back on. And as I did that, and I'm, you know, I think that we were going on the same path of this, like tuning into the physical body, because as soon as I turned my emotions back on, I was able to feel and drop into my body again. And I'm sure that's going to lead into the next pillar. But that's kind of how it happened. And so that's been my experience.
Yeah, and it's been really beautiful, like witnessing you in this process of like really leaning into your emotions and allowing you to feel them. And it's so important. And I agree with you. I think that it's something that we're really not taught how to do. You know, you go to school and you're taught how to do math and how to do what science is, and,
well, and you're
and
also
history.
taught to be kind of robotic. You know,
Yes.
you're not supposed to be angry. You're not supposed to be overjoyed and going crazy. You're supposed to be pretty neutral. And so that's another part of it.
Yeah, and by being neutral, we really end up pushing these feelings and these things under the rug. And that really leads into what I was saying before, where it's like when you push the things under the rug, they're still freaking there. And they get trapped in the room, which is your body, right? And so when I'm explaining this to clients, I say to them, you know, when you push down these emotions and when you prevent yourself from being with them, from feeling them, from experiencing them, from asking questions about them, ultimately, you're just taking the dust in the room, right, that you sweep up in the room, and you're sweeping it under the rug. When it's under the rug, you can't see it, right? But the dust still affects the environment. It still affects the air that you're breathing in. So with time, you're going to be breathing in more dust and breathing in more dust, and then it starts to affect your lungs. And if you aren't super familiar with the body's physiology, if your lungs are challenged, it's then going to start to challenge your cardiovascular system, and it's going to make it really challenging. It's gonna it's gonna make it really challenging for you to optimally cleanse your body, and your blood is what fuels everything in your body. So it starts to reduce the amount of oxygen that is able to get to your cells and get to your muscles and get to the places in your body that need it, all because you just brushed the dust under the rug because you didn't want to look at it, right? And so I love that you've been able to move through your ability to sit with these emotions, and I'm excited for you and myself to be able to hold the space for the people that join the Mind Body Initiative, so that they can better sit with their emotions, so that they can better feel them and have tools to process the things that come up for them and feel them. Because what's scary is when you feel the things and you don't have the tools to manage them and to navigate them, because then you're like overwhelmed and you're like, oh my God, what the heck do I do? How do I support myself? Often overwhelm comes up, and then you're stressed and your whole body's in a stress response, and ain't nobody want that.
Well, and that's also what holds people back from going for the things that they want in life, whether that be, you know, the love of their life. You know, they're scared to love again because they've had heartbreak. But the reality is you'll get through it, but you have to have the tools. You have to have the belief that you'll get through it, and all the other things when it comes to going for, you know, your career goals and all kinds of different things. It's like if you don't feel good in how you process any emotion that's going to come up, because emotions will continuously come up through life. That's the human experience. That's why it's so important to learn the tools and cultivate the toolbox that works for you to help you navigate through this entire life, because it's never going to stop. It just makes it so much easier and so much more enjoyable when you know how to navigate.
Agreed. And I I completely resonate with that. And, you know, when you're saying feel good, it's not a matter of like actually feeling good in the moment. Like you said, things are going to come up, like your emotions are going to come up. And oftentimes they freaking suck. Like they don't feel good most of the time, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a matter of feeling good because you know, and you have the confidence that when these things come up and when this emotion comes up, like you got you.
We can say feel prepared.
Yeah,
Maybe
I like
that's
that.
better. Feel
I like
prepared.
that. But yeah, it's and that I think is really where people get that sense of empowerment, because they're like, you know, and something that I love that you say, and this kind of comes into that sense of empowerment is, right, like I cannot be destroyed. And that's something that you've come up with in the last year that just kind of hit you. And it's something that we remind each other of all the time because things are going to come up. And it's so important to remember who you are, the tools you have, how to use those tools you have, and really connect with that true knowing that you're going to move through this. You're going to feel all of it. You're going to move through it. You're going to be okay. And you cannot be destroyed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man.
So, hello to everybody that's coming in here. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat box below. We're happy to answer anything that comes up. And we are chatting about the 4 pillars of health and well-being today, health, healing, and well-being. And so we've talked about the first 2 that we bring into the Mind Body Initiative, my 16-week transformational group program that starts next week. Valarie is the amazing support coach. I'm so excited to have her here with us. And we have gone through the first 2 pillars, which are the mental as 1, the emotional as 2. The third is physical. And this one's something that's super near and dear to my heart. And it's a celebration for Valarie this week because she had a big, for me, I think it's big. And it's big.
Okay.
The physical is so important because the physical is the actual vessel that you are in. It is your being, it is your temple. And so, yes, the mental is important, the emotional is important. And if you are not treating your body and your temple with love, with care, it's going to yell at you. That's what's going to happen. You're going to end up with internal inflammation. You may end up with physical pain, right? And a lot of people don't understand how to support their body optimally. So in the Mind Body Initiative, we make sure that you are well informed around all the things with your physical body. We talk about everything from functional movement. You actually get a 16-week functional exercise program that helps teach you the foundations of mobility, core strength, and how to strengthen your body functionally and safely so that you don't get injured. So we have the 16 weeks of the functional movement. We also dive really deep into your internal health. If you've ever heard the term, your gut is your second brain, personally, I disagree with that. I think that your gut is your first brain because it's going to massively influence your actual brain. Most of your neurotransmitters are going to be found in your gut itself. So if you're not optimally supporting your gut and eating to fuel your body with proper energy, eating good nutrition, good foods, and if you're not working to reduce the inflammation in your body, which we are exposed to every single day from all of the toxins that we are around, the soaps you use, the shampoos you use, the things you're spraying your hair with, the makeup you're putting on your face, all of these small little things play a role in your physical body and your physical health and wellness. So in the Mind Body Initiative, we dive really deep into all of the things. We talk about the lymphatic system, we talk about fascia, we talk about helping you feel more confident in this vessel and feel more confident with navigating your own health so that you can optimize it and feel the best you possibly can, regardless of your age, in this body. So that's the physical body. And for me, it's been my own journey of really, where do we start with this one? It's really started for me when I had that pancreatic tumor and started learning how to rehab my own body after that major surgery. And I did that in the pool, which was and is something I still love very much. And over the years, I started learning different forms of exercise. And when I ended up getting my lower back injury, I started learning that there are better and more functional ways to move my body that weren't bodybuilding style, because movement for function is the most important. It's not movement to get these big round shoulders and have these beastly traps. You're probably not going to feel good by doing that. And if you want to feel the best in your body, you get to learn how to move your body and love your physical body in a way that supports the outcome that you desire, which is normally higher energy levels, right? Clear head, right? A clear mind, less pain or no pain is the goal, right? And being able to use your body the way that you want. I have a lot of older clients I work with that come to me in their 70s and their 80s, and they're like, I just want to get on the floor and be with my grandkids. Like, great, you can do that. It's just a matter of doing the things to get you there, right? Because going to the gym and doing flies and chest presses is probably not going to reduce your shoulder pain, and it's probably not going to help you with getting on the floor and playing with the kids. So, again, there's so many things that go into the physical body, but without being able to have the knowledge and the understanding around the mental body and the emotional body, then it's going to be really hard for you to optimally work on optimizing the physical body. So I know for you, the physical body and learning how to really nurture this has been a journey for you with nutrition, with actual movement, and more recently, like being able to just tune in and be like, what's my body need and how can I give that to my body today? So tell us a little bit about what your journey with with this specific pillar of physical health has been.
Yeah. I mean, it started, I guess we could say, with when I went to IIN, the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and I got certified as a holistic health coach. And, I learned a lot about nutrition and in a soft way. That was something that in the past I had, been on the diet culture roller coaster. And that was something that I loved about my learning through IIN was it was a lot softer. It's a lot more bio-individual, as they say. And it really resonated with me. And that kind of catapulted me on this entire path. During that same time, that's when I was working on my other pillars of health, of mental and emotional. I was doing that concurrently with my certification. So all of this was happening at the same time. And so as I was learning to navigate my nutrition, I learned that gluten doesn't do well for my brain, which was very strange. And that's what most people are surprised by. I don't eat gluten, but it's not because it makes me bloated or makes my stomach hurt. It affects my brain. I get brain fog. I get lethargic. My motivation is out the door for at least 5 to 6 days, if not more. And so that was a huge revelation for me. And as soon as I decided to cut that out, because I'm a huge bread person, I cut that out. It gave me some confidence. It gave me a boost of, you can really take control of your health and you're doing this. And so it was like a momentous thing. And then I started to do some workouts, and then I met a friend of mine who ended up being my online trainer for, I guess, a year and a half. Mm-hmm. And, he really walked me through learning how to move my body in the ways that felt good for me and helped me push my boundaries. I was terrified of the gym, terrified of it. And it was the way that he walked me through it. I got softly introduced to it, but also pushed. And so I got to learn I can lift heavy things. And in addition to that, I also got to see what my body can do. I was so shocked at the amount of weight that I could lift and the movements I could do. And through that time, that's kind of when you and I started to connect too. And I can't rave enough about like your just innate talent for knowing the human body. And you've had so much skill, you've done so much education, and you also just have a gift. And so living with you back then as well, during this time, all of this happened. And, learning about the muscles in the body and what's connected. Like you would walk me through like, okay, your shoulder hurts, but it's your neck up here, something like it's all kinds of things. And it was just very empowering to start to see that I could move my body and I can have different goals that aren't just, I want to be skinnier or I want to look a certain way. I was really, really excited to be stronger. And you mentioned like the functional movement, and that was something that my friend, my trainer, was focused on as well. Was like he taught me the difference between just going in and lifting weights and being, just very static with that, and learning different ways that like it matters how you actually live, and noticing when I was using those movements in real life, lifting a box or moving furniture, things like that. So, between all of that, and you've also kind of taught me some different massage methods, which has also been empowering as well, which it's just the most empowering thing to like know how to manipulate your body and know that you can.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of been my journey. And I know you're very proud that I went into the gym this week and did whatever I wanted, and it did feel good because I had learned enough tools that I knew what I was doing. I knew how to put the movements together, and I knew what muscles felt like they wanted to be moved, and I knew what to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I'm so proud of you for that. I'm so proud because it just shows me how much you've tuned into your body and how and this is what we teach in the Mind Body Initiative. It's a conversation with your body. It's always a conversation with your body. One of the things that I say always is that your pain and your discomfort is a message from your body to your body asking for more love and attention. And so if you're not having this conversation with your body and being able to tune in and recognize, what do you need? How do you need to lift this box off the ground, in a way that's going to keep you safe? And how can you support the experience that's happening, right? If I walk into the gym one day and my shoulder's really hurting me, like, I'm not going to go in and start overhead pressing just because that's on my to-do list for the day. Like, hells no. I'm going to do my mobility. I'm going to do my soft tissue work. I'm going to get out the kinks and really like have this conversation. You know me, I had days at the gym when I would literally go in there and I would lay on the turf for 60 minutes. You'd be like, what's this girl doing flopping around the turf? But it's true, and for me, it's so much more important. And, someone above said, you have to train hard and you can get there. And I want to bring this comment into this conversation because it's not about training hard. It's about training optimally. And if you are training optimally, you are going to get better results than you will just training hard. And yes, we can train hard by training optimally, but if you are training hard and you don't understand how to optimize that in a way that's going to support your goals, your functions, and having that conversation with your body, you're likely going to end up in that place where you came to me, and most clients come to me and they're like, hey, I'm doing all these exercises and these movements, but I feel like I'm really not connecting with it. Or I'm doing all these exercises and these movements, but I'm having this pain and I don't know what to do about it. Well, let's take a step back. Let's look at what you're doing, how you're doing it, because normally the place where you're having pain, unless you have some sort of acute injury, is not where the pain is stemming from. Almost never. And so we come back to the basics and we help you start to learn how to touch your body, right? And we do this in the Mind Body Initiative. How do you get on the ground? How do you have that conversation with your body? How do you stretch? How do you move your body? How do you really start to understand, like, what does your body need today? And that takes
and I
time.
think like sorry, go ahead.
No.
Some of the education also, it's like just knowing more about the body, like, for example, as I've had shoulder pain for a while, and I thought it was just because I was moving wrong, and it's really that I need to strengthen other muscles, and kind of understanding that and really being able to dive into that particular thing, I'm able to adjust in the gym because I have that knowledge now. So this is, again, when we're talking about the toolbox that we're cultivating, it's the knowledge and the know and the whys behind it all that is so important. And so, like what you're saying, it's like what the symptom is, where the pain is, it's usually not going to be just that exact
Yep.
thing. And just knowing that alone, is huge. And then going into more of like, how are things connected and what are some movements that would support this area of the body? And such a holistic way to approach the physical body.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Right. And knowledge is power.
Mm-hmm.
And even something simple as like, oh, my shoulder hurts. Okay, let's tune in. What's my posture? If you're watching me, you notice I move around a lot and I like constantly like shift my shoulders back and I sit up because I have a lot of body awareness. And that's something I've seen you develop over the last year, is like being able to like, okay, I'm going to touch my chest here. I'm going to massage some of my chest muscles, right? And I'm going to check in. What's my posture like? What am I doing? How am I sitting? Where's my head position, right? So you're right. There's all these components of the physical body, and then what you were talking about earlier, not just around the strength and the movement and the muscle releasing and the exercises, but also what are you putting in your body, right? Because like you said, the gluten, most people do not do well with gluten, and yet it's in almost everything people eat in the standard American diet. And so bringing awareness to all these different components of what are you eating, what are you putting in your body, what are you choosing, because it's always your freaking choice. If you've been following me for a little while, you notice that I oftentimes end my post with, it's always your choice, because it is. It's always your choice. What happens to you may not necessarily be your choice, but how you respond to it and how you choose to move forwards after that experience happens to you is. And so in your actions, by pointing the finger at yourself and by not at anyone else, you then get to put intention and energy into creating the experience you do desire, rather than being controlled by the experience that happens to you, right? So much around the physical body, and we have lots of guest coaches coming in that are going to be speaking about this in the Mind Body Initiative. So I'm really excited about that. We'll be talking detox, we'll be talking gut health, we'll be talking food, we're going to be talking movement, we're going to be talking all the things. So super stoked for that. And then that leads us into the last pillar, which is the energetic and the spiritual. And I feel that these truly are like, they are the same. They are one. I usually refer to it as energetic, and some people are like, energetics, what does that mean? Well, it also means spiritual, because spirit is energy in some way, shape, or form, right? Whatever you believe, whoever you speak to, your guides, your teachers, God, the universe, whatever resonates for you, we are talking about source. We are talking about energy. We are talking about the interconnectedness. If you are a fellow psychedelic lover, we might be talking about the mycelium network, right? It's all connected. So when we're talking about energetics in the Mind Body Initiative, we are talking about, what is your deeper connection to self? What is your deeper connection to others? What is your deeper connection to the universe, to God, to this higher power, right? And so this comes in a couple of different forms. We do actually support you through understanding the energetics of your body, understanding the chakras and how energy flows through your system. And we also start to talk about the energetics of yourself in relation to others. We look at the relationships in your life. We look at how you're showing up. We look at how do you desire to create an impact in the world? And how do you desire to continue building and sharing this energetic experience that you've created in a way that you know and trust and believe in so deeply, right? How do you get to share that with the world? And so, energetics can also tie into all of the pillars that we spoke about before. And that's the thing when we're talking about these pillars of health and healing and well-being, is they all should tie together. So if we come back to the mental component, the mental pillar, right? The mindset. Energetics play a huge role in mindset, right? Because the energy that we were talking about earlier, with which you believe something or you put into something, is going to be what ultimately the experience can be for you, right? Because if you're showing up to something with a negative ass mindset, don't believe that beautiful, positive, amazing things are going to be manifested into your life experience. It doesn't work that way. And we think about the emotional, right? Emotions are energy in motion, okay? And so same thing here. If we are holding on to these negative vibrating emotions, or let's say lower vibrating emotions, and holding on to this past trauma and these past experiences, the energetics are going to play a big role in your ability to heal, your ability to connect, and your ability to create the life experience you desire. Same thing with the physical body. Energetics play a huge role in the physical body, okay? And how you move your physical body, right? For example, if I walk into a room and I'm all slouched over, right? Like somebody's going to look at me and be like, oh, wow, like she's not doing well. What's happening with her, right? But if I walk into a room and I'm like really tall and my energy is really great, right? There's a huge difference in the energetics that are coming off of me. Energetics with the physical body also can look like the nutrition you're putting in. Like you were saying, if you put gluten in your body, you feel a significant decline in energy over the coming days, right? Also, right, with the way that emotions get trapped in the body energetically, that plays a role within energetics as well. And again, then we're talking about spirituality, your beliefs. What is this higher being that you believe in? What is this higher power, this greater experience that you believe in? Because if you think that the world is just revolving around you, it's going to be really challenging in getting to the place that you want to go and connecting with others, creating that community that you deeply desire and that you deserve, frankly, right? So spirituality and having that knowing and that trust that you are moving in the right direction. And, I believe truly that everything does happen for a reason, in divine timing, sure, if you want to use that term, right? But everything is happening to support you. It's not to hurt you. It's not to hinder you. It's not to hold you back. Everything that happens in your life experience is supporting you and moving forward and getting ahead. And it's your choice to decide if you lean into that or not, right? And I used to be somebody that used to be so like, I just felt like the universe was just like slamming on me every day, like hitting me with a hammer, like pushing me down and pushing me down and pushing me down. And I had to shift my energetics. I had to shift my mindset. I had to recognize the energetics that were playing a role within the emotional things happening in me and the trauma trapped within my body. And I had to start working with my physical body and putting the energy into my physical body that was going to support me and fuel me with optimizing my health, my wellness, and moving forwards and having the life that I desire, and people look at me and they're like, how the hell do you do that? Like, how do you move from one place to another and meet people and make community and move across the country with your cat? And like, how do you do all these things? And it's like, well, I truly work on every single one of these pillars so that I can create this life that I want and that I love. I freaking love my life. I love the people in my life, and so spirituality has allowed me to believe in something greater, and it has allowed me to believe that I am a part of something greater, and it's allowed me to lean into making this greater impact and creating something in the world so that it's not just me that's benefiting and supporting, but all the people around me. And and that's something that a couple of years ago I really set this intention of, my goal and my intention in my life is to share and leave as much love and joy and just good energy in as many corners of the world with as many people as I possibly can. And I had that reflected back to me even this week. I had a really challenging experience this week, and I was open and vulnerable and shared about my experience in a Facebook post, and I had like 100 people from all over the fucking world reach out to me and just like send me back that love that I sent out to other people. And so energetics come up in so many ways. And I'd love for you to share how energetics and spirituality have been a part of your journey and helping you in your own transformation.
Yeah. I definitely resonate with everything you just said. For me, this spirituality led me into learning how to fully trust my intuition. That's been the biggest thing for me is, again, if we want to talk about the other pillars, how they are interconnected, once I started to unravel the thoughts and the dialogues in my brain, handle my emotions, things like that, part of that work was figuring out what was the conditioned dialogue, what was the programming, what were the things that were not me, and then what was my higher self, what was my actual deep self wanting in that moment. And like, I like to refer to it as like getting into alignment of the best path forward for me based on what I want. And so it was really, really hard for me to tune out the conditioned part of my brain and then really learn how to hear my intuition. And then the next step was to learn to just trust it. And another thing that you and I used to say to each other was full send. Like just full send. Like if your
Full
heart wants
send.
it, full send. Because, and like you said, whatever happens it's for your good. You have the ability to learn from every situation, and you have the responsibility to take ownership of that. And so most of the time, whenever we do exactly what we want, we're ready for the consequences because it's like, nobody else told us to do this. So that's been my biggest thing. And with learning my intuition and really rooting in that, confidence grows, which also becomes an energetic thing and also becomes an outwardly energetic thing. I show up differently. I speak differently. I think differently because of the confidence that comes from me just trusting my intuition and believing in myself. And I think that that's what's kind of led into the other energetics of what we talk about with, like, one of my biggest things, and I feel is my mission in life, is to help people understand love, unconditional love, relationship with their self, relationship with others, romantic relationship, friendships, all of the things. Because by rooting into my intuition and my energetics and spirituality, it has showed me a belief that I have, and like you were saying, finding something to believe in, and it's really a guiding light. And you can believe in anything that you want to, as long as you like believe in something. There's got to be some kind of faith. There's got to be something there that you can hold on to and surrender into. Because if there's nothing else and it's just you, like, where are you going to surrender to? So I feel like that's kind of been my journey, is intuition and learning to surrender into that.
Yeah. And I think that you really hit the nail on the head with hit the nail on the nail on I don't know what I'm saying now. Hit the nail on the head with with the intuition part, because there's a component of trust, faith, confidence, right? And just that deep inner knowing that you get to have when it comes to really leaning into your intuition, right? And the other component that I love that you brought up here was the alignment, because alignment is so important. And that's why we do dive into the mental first. Because if you're not clear on your values, if you're not clear on where you came from, where you're at, and where you think you want to go, where you end up is usually never going to be where you think you're going. Let's make that clear right now. And, if you're not clear on those things first, it is going to be really challenging to lean into that alignment and to take aligned action. Because yes, it is, I'm sure you've heard people say this before, it's about taking messy action. And it is. If you don't make any step forwards at all, even to the left, to the right, to the side, wherever, you're not going anywhere. You're going to stay exactly where you are. And that's part of why the Mind Body Initiative is such a powerful experience, because it helps you learn to take this aligned, messy action by gaining an understanding of, like, what is a yes for you, what is a no for you, and how can you use the experience that comes from taking this messy action to help you get more clear and more in alignment on the journey forwards. And I don't like the word failures, and I don't like the word mistakes. I really don't, because
It's like evolution, you
yeah,
know, like we use it as curriculum to continue to evolve into this person that we want to be, because nobody's going to know. If you're just starting the work, you're not going to know exactly what you want, because you've been clouded so long by all of these other things, and your entire life has been built around probably a version of yourself that you're not really super in alignment or happy with. So it's going to take some trial and error, but we'll call it evolution, you know, to get to that level. So it's again, you know, this is a journey. It's not a one-stop shop type of a thing, and your wants and needs they'll change over time as well. So
and
it's
that's
like
okay.
it's okay, and it's invited, and it's welcome. Like,
Yeah.
you can be every version of yourself that you want to be. You can be a different person every day if you want to, but as long as you're happy, that's what matters. And I think that, you know, the spiritual energetic side of things, you know, that really helps. And we're talking about trust and intuition. That really helps, you know, whenever it comes to time to figure out what does matter to you. Because, you know, when you're trying to sort out the, you know, is this the conditioned program side of me, or is this me? A lot of times you'll know what's you, but you're scared to trust it.
Yeah.
And so there's going to have to be a full send into that. And that's trust, that's surrender. And until you get comfortable with doing that, it's not gonna, you're not gonna make a lot of progress. So there's just gonna be that kind of take a leap at
Yeah.
some point.
And that's what it is. It's taking a leap and taking that step and making that full send and surrendering to what the outcome is going to be.
And
Because
non-attachment, that's the thing too. Like you said
yeah.
earlier, like you're likely what you're going for will look differently. And I think there was one time I made a video at some point that talked about the fact, like, if you have your eye set on one scenario, one outcome, think about how high of a percentage you have just set yourself up for disappointment. Because think about all the different ways that something can play out. It could all be good, but it can play out in so many different
Yeah.
ways that if you set your eye on one thing, the odds of that very particular thing happening are a lot lower than if you just kind of say, I want to feel this way. I want this to kind of generally be this way, and allow it to just be, surrendering to it.
You're ultimately setting yourself up for disappointment in that case.
Yep.
You know, it's
Exactly.
about setting yourself up for success. And that truly is the foundation of what the Mind Body Initiative is here to do for you. This 16-week transformational group program is here to literally help you do and facilitate all of the things with moving forwards. So if you listened to this conversation tonight and you tuned in and you're like, wow, this really resonates with me, I really love what I'm hearing, and you're curious to see if this is a good fit for you, I will tell you, you are not going to want to miss the magic that is about to happen in this container between the people, the students that are coming in, and the facilitators that are coming in. There's so many of my best friends, the students included, that are just like, I'm ready to go deeper. And all of the facilitators that are coming in, they're people that are in my inner circle that I have chosen over multiple years and that have earned their space in my life because they see me, they hear me, they support me, and they are my people. They are my inner circle. And I'm so excited to share all of this with those that are in this program. I'm so excited to have you support me week in and week out with everybody that's here, because it's a journey, and it's a never-ending journey. And all I desire to do in my life is to set you, whoever's watching this, is to set you up for success within your body, within your mind, and within the journey forwards. Because I want you to have these tools. You deserve to have these tools. And you deserve to feel confident in your ability to navigate all of the experiences that happen. So I am so grateful that you were able to be here with me tonight, and I'm so grateful that I get to spend 2 nights a week with you in the Mind Body Initiative for the next 16 weeks. And yeah, I'm beyond excited. Do you have anything you want to share before we head out tonight?
I'm so stoked. Like this is just gonna be so much fun, and I'm so honored to be able to be a part of this and help empower people with these tools. It's like, you can cultivate a toolbox all you want, but until you know how to use them and when to use them,
Mhm.
useless. And so I know everybody that comes out of this program will not only have a full toolbox, but they'll know how to use every single one of those tools.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I agree. And
so
the
excited.
other thing that I think is really important to note here is, it's not a matter of like coming in and not knowing how to do any of this stuff. You might already know how to do a lot of things that we're talking about. And if you're feeling like there's more that you want to do and more ways that you want to optimize some of these things, cool. You might have some familiarity with the tools and some of the things that we teach you. And the true thing that makes the that that sets the stage for the impact that you get to have is the space that's held for you. And so that's where it is my personal responsibility to ensure that the space that I am holding is there to support you in keeping you responsible for the reasons why you came here. And so you might have some of these tools, and it's a matter of having the space held for you to go deeper in a way that you feel safe, seen, and supported. And that's why we are here for you. So I'm freaking excited. This program is my favorite program ever, and this round is going to be, the only word that's coming to me is magnificent. Like, that's it.
A fancy word.
Like,
I like it, Leah.
yeah, I like it too. So yes, if you guys are curious and you want to know more, please reach out to me. You can reach out to Valarie as well. And I'd love to chat with you. Let's see if this is a good fit for you. I'd love to learn more about what's going on in your world, what your past experiences have been, and learn more about like how you want to feel, what you want your experience to look like, and what has been holding you back. What have been some of the challenges that have arose for you along the way? So we are here for you. We love you so much. And we are so excited to dive in next week. So if you're ready for the work, let's go. Well, I love you. You're amazing. And everybody here, thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.